Stephen A. gave his reason for why he thinks Trump beat Kamala Harris, and I think he's spot on. Take a look.
What do you think the left's going to have to do? We've been talking about this. What do you think the left's going to have to do to kind of rebuild and change things up with their messaging?
They need to grow up.
4 years.
They need to grow up and get with the program and understand that as times and things may have changed, things remain the same. James Carville, a Democratic strategist, it's the economy, stupid. He was famous for that quote. When you think about the economy, when you think about borders, when you think about security and safety in the streets of America, that's what people care about. The Democrats tried to get us to care about other stuff. And it's not to say that folks don't care about those things, but they don't care about those things more than they care about money and safety.
It really is that simple. And I do agree with Stephen A. that it likely will always be about the economy. I think it is, because if Trump crushes it with the economy this time, I think all of us could agree, just logically speaking, that it would be very likely that a Republican would win in 2028. And that Republican will probably be J.D. Vance or maybe Vivek Ramaswamy, maybe Ron DeSantis. However, at the same time, the fundamental reason why Trump lost in 2020 was because of the perception of the economy, largely due to COVID in 2020. And I just think it's that simple. And hindsight is 2020. So when we were looking into this election, we were thinking, well, there are all these reasons why Trump could win. There were some reasons why Kamala Harris could win. I always thought Trump would win. But a lot of people just said, you know what? It could just be as simple as, do you like Donald Trump's presidency more or Biden's? And it turns out, I think it was that simple. And I think what Stephen A. Smith is saying here is that a lot of it comes down to, are you safe and do you have money? And I don't think, he maybe was it didn't show it in that video, but in part of the other podcast, he was framing it, it seemed more as kind of a bad thing, like a selfish thing. I don't think it is at all. I don't think it's, and maybe I misread it, but I don't think it's selfish at all to want the most for you and your family and to get the most out of the economy that you can, especially when it comes to presidencies that are actively trying to stifle you, like Joe Biden with his inflationary spiral. But in any case, I think this points to Donald Trump's biggest strength, which is the economy. Because even if you look at the policy that is seemingly unrelated to the economy for Donald Trump, he always makes it about the economy. I would argue, I'll talk about these three things. I would argue that his three other things other than the economy also just have ties into the economy. And I think his greatest strength was actually showing the American people how they tied into the economy. Immigration, for instance, that's his biggest one. His argument was always that immigrants were stifling the lower class, that they were essentially taking the jobs of low-skilled workers and driving unemployment. So, and there were other reasons. Safety was part of it as well. But he always centered it on the economy. Foreign policy was the same way. Less wars means more peace, which allows us to actually spend time producing. And Ukraine, for example, one of the reasons why the Ukrainian war is a disaster, especially for our grocery prices, as we've seen, is because they produce a lot of our grain. And so what happens when the war starts? They can't produce as much grain because we are in a globalistic society now. We need it. We rely on it for low grocery bills. So I don't know if Trump explained that quite as much, but I think that is intuitive to Americans. And then finally, the last one, which I think is maybe the biggest one, and I think people did understand this intuitively, which is that he wanted to drain the swamp. And the reason why that's such a big deal, and I think people are catching on to this, is every time the government spends money, it is a tax on the American people, whether they have the tax money or the tax income or not. So if they're doing it within their budget, within the taxes, they already taxed you. If they're doing it outside of it, it creates inflation, which is a tax on you already. And so what he's doing with DOGE, for instance, the Department of, I'm already messing this up. The Department of Government Efficiency, I think a big part of deregulating is not only so it doesn't, invade Americans' lives as much, but also so that government spending goes down. Therefore, inflation is not so bad. And again, at the end of the day, when people looked at the Trump economy versus the Biden-Harris economy, it was a no-brainer for them. When it comes to protection men, settling for that generic brand with the one-size-fits-all label, gross. It doesn't inspire confidence. It's not a good experience. It may not even offer that protection that you want. With my sponsor, Caliber, they have 6 sizes to choose from, not one, and they make it very easy to start, and this is the best offer. that they've ever run, I think. And so you're going to want to listen up. To get started right now, go to the link in the description below to order your free sampler. That's right, free. No upfront costs, no shipping fees like other companies will do. Just place your order and your free caliber sampler will be on its way, and it's discreetly delivered to your door. What if it's not the right fit, you ask? No worries. Let Caliber know within just there's a 2-week kind of trial period. You're not going to be charged a single penny. And the best part is you don't need to send anything back. So it's very easy for you. Today, join thousands of Caliber customers that are improving their sexual fitness. Simply go to the link in my description to get started right now. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.